They changed a few things around, so we should be able to do this. So then what we're going to do is we want to do something good, a public, make sure it's public, and this is going to go roll dice. This is going to roll the amount of dice that you have. Alright, so what it's going to do is this, we're first going to do a few things. We're going to do an integer try pass. This is like, I don't know any other methods, but we're just going to get our text current, and we're just going to go out as being number of dice. This is just kind of, what this is going to do is it's going to try to do it. If it can't work, it's going to go, okay, this doesn't work, and it's just going to give me an error message and just continue, alright, and just try to do the rest of it, alright. So I can also do an if successful, but it's just going to try to convert it to an integer. And so we're the best, you can also just do a pass. Difference between pass and try pass, I believe, is that try pass tries to do it. If it fails, it will just give you an error message and try to continue on. Otherwise, pass will actually probably even crash, I think. I think try pass is a little more forgiving, but maybe requires more power. You know, it's obviously always offsets. I always use try pass. So what we've done is we've actually got a variable that we can use. This is incredibly important. Just checking it's still going. Okay, good. Incredibly important that we have a variable that we can actually use beyond draw, right? Because without this, it means that we can't just manipulate our text. So now what we want to do is now we want to go through all of these normal dice, and we want to get our dice results. Right. So if you look here, kind of had what we had. Right. We're getting our number of dice, and then we're just gonna equal our this is just a reset function. We'll add that later. Let's try to find it. Reset. Yeah, that's just for processing. This is what we want. Okay. We're gonna go through each one of these, and we're gonna get our dice result, and we're going to randomize it. Alright, we're going to get a random number for each one. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. For integer I equals 0, I is less than number of dice. The big difference between that, you go, oh wait, well shouldn't we be doing this for our dice result because that's going to store our max? No, because that's storing our max. If we did that for our max dice, we could say 1 and we'll get 1100. Right, we just want the number of dice. And what we're going to do is we're going to go dice results of I is equal to a random dot range, and we're just going to say 1 and 7. So what this is going to do is this is a for loop, and I'm not going to go through what for loop means, but I will kind of go for it. So what we're doing is we're just setting up an I equals 0, like you would before. And it's going to go if I is less than number of dice, then do this. There we go. And then, after you do this, you go I plus plus. So I is plus 1. Then we're going to go repeat. And just going to go back up to this and just going to keep repeating. So you're just repeating through this. The big difference between this and something like a doing it every update is an update will work still, right? You update it every second, but what it do is you go through each one every second or every frame. So it's actually not as good because it means that you actually, if you have 1,100 dice, that's probably 4 seconds, or no, it's a lot more than that. It's like almost 20 seconds or something. Of frames, right? If each one was a frame. So what it'll do is it'll take like 12 seconds or however many seconds it is for each one. So each one will take up its own individual frame. And then we'll restart. So it means that you actually see a bit of lag going across. So that's why we don't do an update, that's why we do for loops for a lot of things. It's just faster. That's essentially what it is. And that +1, the reason it didn't work is because whenever you're passing a number, you always go your whatever, right? Because what this actually means is this means the reason it doesn't like it is because I doesn't exist. But I mean, if we obviously move this and did this, it would like it. What this basically means is it's saying, hey, +1. But what it's actually doing is it's plussing to the already variable. If you just say I +1, what does that equal? You know, where is that being added to? You could say, hey, I don't know, mu is equal to I +1. Yeah, that makes sense. But if you're saying I +1, you say I plus equals 1, which means the I is equal to 1 extra. That probably made no sense, but maybe it did. Next, now we got this variable. Now we want to do a few things. Just go check. I'm on track. Yeah, now we're doing passing. Are we okay? Now we're going to do text or text. This is one of the coolest things. Is equal to passing results n. This is where it gets really cool. This is where you're passing out your results. And the reason that we actually do this, and then we start doing it, is because that means that we don't, it's just a function that will always happen. Because when we're changing the output, we still want to roll our dice, right? But what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to do this a bit differently. Because as you notice, I had a problem with mine. Pass results. I had a big problem with mine. You know, the big problem was that, oh, my, so just let me do this. Let's go think. My mic is like freaking, I mean, not my mic, my freaking headset, just give me a second. Okay. We don't do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this separately. This still doesn't make makes no difference for how it's done. The only thing is it means that now when we want to change it, we can just change how we pass it, and it won't re-roll all our dice. This will actually re-roll all our dice. And this is pretty quick. This probably takes less than half a second, I'd say. Okay, so because of a text as a passing, so what we're going to do is this is where it gets another for loop. There's a lot of for loops because in this. We want to get I is less than something, I plus plus. This is where we go, what's our I less than? Probably our dice results. Or number of dice. Right? Yeah, good, okay. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to first begin with our text. And we want to say, hey, this is plus or equal. So the big difference is here is this is essentially I could make it, or whenever we do this, we could always equal 0. Right? I could do that, equal nothing, because otherwise I'll just keep plussing it on top. But this way, it doesn't equal 0. It's actually used, and it's nice each time to do it. And this is because Unity accepts markup language. This is just markup, HTML markup language. That essentially means new line. Yeah. So I mean, markup language is stuff like that, where you have like weird stuff like text and stuff like that. If you've seen that, you've seen it if you ever do any HTML coding. So what we want to do is we want to get our dice result of I. Alright, and you go, wait, what? So here we create our dice results to I, and here we output it. And you go, wait, can't we just output our dice results to I? Can't we just output like the random.range? No, because we actually want to access this. If you ever thought that, I know it seems a bit weird, you could say, oh, well for each one of these, we could just random range, right? You know, we could plus or equal a random range, and it would still work. Yes, it would work, but one, we would have no access to it. Two, it would actually work really nicely, but we'd have to rely on a variable here to do this. We'd have to rely on a variable. I guess that's it. But when we want to pass it out to a letter or a text, we actually need to have access to what the variables are. Right, we actually need to add access. Okay, this is 1, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and that's the only way we can do it. It makes no difference other than kind of add an extra line. Alright, and we can also see our dice results, so we can actually match up, and it helps to see how big your box is to see how much dice you can actually have into it, the max you can actually have. It really helps to say, okay, this is 7, this is actually the last one. I mean, you could always say at the end, debug.log last. So we're actually going to do a debug.log. Done. So if you actually don't want to do the changing it to a text, I mean, hey, you can just kind of remove this, and where it says dice.say, you can just go plus or equal random.range 1 to 7. Right? And it would work. Yeah, it would work. So you don't need this if you're not gonna. You still need the integer try pass, and you can still copy this down here. But see this roll dice pass results, you could probably just like push this up a bit. Guys, so we're gonna say debugs along this, and then we're gonna have a. This is where it gets really weird, right? What we're going to do is we're going to have an if statement, and what we're going to do is we're going to check whether or not this is the last one, right? If I is less than number of dice minus 1, do something. So like what we had here, see, if I yeah, see, if I is less than number of dice minus 1, right? Then do this. When this is still in our for loop. Yeah, it's still in our for loop. Yeah, it's gonna go before it. That's why. So yeah, and we're just gonna add text. It just seems weird. It's the same. It's just properly formatting. So what we're gonna do is we're going to go text.text plus or equal a comma. Then we want to do an else if. Else if I is equal to number of dice minus 1. I think that's what you said, is equal to number of dice minus 1. Yeah. Obviously, use double equals when you're, because 1 equal just means it sets it. So the big difference between 1 equal and 2 equals is 1 equal set it. So if you say I is equal to this, I don't know, like what we had up here, this is setting it, where this is comparing. I know you could say that, oh wait, single equal would work here, but I mean, if I want to say, yeah, I know, it seems a bit weird. I know it seems weird. In my mind, it seems a bit weird. I'm sure when you get really, really complex, I'm sure it's actually useful to have a double equals and single equals. But right here you go, well, a 1 equals would work. It wouldn't change too much. Here, 1 equals would work. It wouldn't compare it. But maybe it does compare it. Maybe that's how it thinks. I don't know. I don't know actually how, I don't know that in depth. Come on. And what we're going to say is, if it is at the end, then just plus or equal a full stop. And that should be it. I'm just checking. That's right. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So what this should do is this should actually pass it, and this is all we need. I know it doesn't seem a lot, but it's pretty good. Okay, so what we should be able to do is dice results. We're just gonna say 5 is the maximum. Alright, so if we say 10, this is our problem. Oh, sorry. I was like, this isn't right. Okay, we'll just do this. Yeah, and we're gonna say, hey, running for text, roll dice. So these are just on clicks. And also on edit, we're going to say, yeah, this will just allow us, so if you click out of it, it will still work. So I say 10 and click out of it. What happens? It crashes. Why does it crash? Well, because it's got no safety net. It just can't handle it. But if I say 5, it's fine, and it will pass me the results with the things. And that obviously roll dice doesn't work. But this will work every time, but roll random doesn't. So all we do is we just put a simple if statement. right? And we're going to say if number of dice is greater than our dice result dot length, which is kind of where if you are doing where you're not doing what I was saying with the pass results, where you're not actually getting a number, if you're just doing in range, it doesn't actually matter how big your dice result is, right? I mean, if they enter 100, that's too big, right? That's why you actually need a variable to say how big it is, and you still need to do this. So if you're still doing it, just replace this with the same variable you used up here. So you can't just say plus 10 or whatever. I mean, if you want to say plus 10 up here, just put 10 here. It's best to use a variable, so that means you can change it if you ever want to. Maybe we can get the width of it and do a calculation, and maybe you could find out. Yeah, maybe that's something like that. And we're just going to say, hey, number of dice is equal to dice results dot length, which is what I did here, as you can see here. And we are actually going to have this. Follow this. And what's just going to happen here is, yep, there we go. Is what we're going to do is we're just going to get test results. So this, next time I'll probably, I know all the stuff I did this, and this was probably done almost 2 weeks ago. So it's the stuff I did recently. I've just kind of been not touching them. Went, oh wait, I can do this, and try it again. So we're just going to just say, hey, it's too big. Set it to. We could say I set to, or whatever you wish to say. You would say I set to. And we're just going to do debug. We're going to say, hey, it's too big. And then we can say here, debug.log added full stop. And then if added full stop, we're just going to say added full stop. Actually, this is going to be very good. Added full stop on plus I. So what it's going to do is it's going to tell us what the I number is. The last number of I. With the thing that you're doing, the problem with this is you can say, oh yeah, well this would work. Yeah, this works. Yeah, it does. But sometimes the last number, I've had it happen before, where the last number that I see is the same as the last number on the list, but it was just luck kind of thing, right? It happens. So I mean, you could always press it a few times and see whether or not it matches up. But it's nice to see the last few. I don't know what this any CPU thing means, but it works. It just says any CPU. So hey, I'm still pretty new to this program, but I know C# really well. So C# I'm probably better at than most languages. Probably my best. Alright, so this will basically just fix what our problem was. So now, if we click roll dice, we click maybe 10, roll dice. Number too big, I set to 5. It told us too big. It told us that it's too big, done. Added full stop on 4, too big, done. It's kind of redone a bit, which is a bit weird. Yeah, no, it didn't. It just, yeah, so what it's done is saying it's too big, so it's set to 5. It's done the passing, done the numbers, so it's got the numbers, and it's added full stop on 4. So what we can do here is we can click here, 5, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3, 5, no, sorry, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3. Don't count your size number. Yeah, that works pretty nicely. Now what happens if we set this to a good number like what we had before, 1100, and we can just kind of close this up. Now it's nothing changed. It's as it was before. You can roll 1100, roll 2000. We'll click this first, and we'll set it. Add a full stop on 1099. It told us what number it added a full stop on. The 1000, the 999th number. Full stop. This may only be at 1199. But if you wait, that's not right. What do I mean by that? Well, if we scroll all the way down, 1 is still the last number, then 44, then 3, then 3, then 5, then 4, 4. It's still like 1900. The reason why it says 1909 is because it takes 0 into account. See? 0. So that's all we want. And what we want to do is we want to be able to allow it to repass it. So it's going to set this back to maybe 50. Just so it's not like laggy or anything. Always a bit laggy when you scroll around with it. But it's just to make it easier. And we'll also clear this. Number of dice 0. Okay, good.